We come from and live on land considered sacred by indigenous people known as Bannock, Paiute, Shoshone, and many other tribes that lived here sustainably for thousands of years. We strive to understand and reframe our responsibilities to land, to community. In the spirit of respectful reciprocity, we honor the original caretakers of this place. We affirm the relationships we have to each other, including our relations to animals and insects that inhabit the water, land, and sky. We recognize the relationship, the responsibility to quiet creeks, rushing rivers, rustling grasses, to sprawling forests, to the brilliant palettes of the sky, to the roots that grip the soil, to the earth beneath our feet. Water is life. To all of us affected by the boarding school revelations, may we be granted compassionate understanding. May we find healing in the harm that lives in our history. We honor and support the right to sovereignty for our indigenous neighbors. We acknowledge that a land acknowledgement is not enough. Now, let us breathe together. Let us take a moment to enjoy the delicious air, the oxygen provided by tree. Hold to the warm light of sun. Consider the solidity, the groundedness of earth. Flow with refreshing, life-giving water. Let the mud settle. Find clarity of mind and spirit. Welcome our ancestors. Enjoy this present moment together.
Good morning. Welcome to the Boise Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm the Reverend Sara LaWall. It is my great honor to serve this beloved community. We're so glad you've joined us this morning. My goodness, every time I watch that land acknowledgement, I am reminded about how blessed we are to be in this place, in this space, on these beautiful grounds. All of that footage is of our property here, shot by Cambria Jenkins. Every time, it's so beautiful. Thank you. We are a spiritually diverse, justice-seeking religious community with one great aim: to grow in love. Love for neighbor, love for self, and love for our planet. We want to welcome those of you who are joining us virtually on Zoom. Let's turn to our cameras in the back there and wave to our online community. And we have an opportunity to see them, to see all of you up on our screens now. So if you are able to turn on your camera even for just a moment so we can see you out there, welcome. It's lovely to see so many of you. Thank you for the waves. You can wave at each other. We are reminded always by those who join us virtually that we worship together as one beloved community beyond the walls of this sanctuary. If you are seeking something larger than yourself, or you are in search of your own heart, you are welcome here. If you believe that all religions of the world are right and true, but none is entirely right, nor does any religion have a corner on the market of truth, you are welcome here. If you believe each of us has to seek the truth in the possibility of science and religion coexisting together, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, however you identify, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. And we know that it takes a lot of courage to cross the threshold and enter a new community. So to those of you who are joining us for the first or second time, to our newcomers in person and on Zoom, a special welcome to all of you. We invite you to introduce yourselves to us after the service as we gather for fellowship and in the chat on Zoom so that we can warmly welcome you. We invite you to fill out a newcomer card in our entryways, and we'll post a link in the chat so that we can keep you connected with all that is happening here in our fellowship. It's always delightful to see so many newcomers entering our doors every week, and new kids too. There's a lot of new kids with us today, so a special welcome to all of you. I do have a few announcements that I want to share with our whole community about some upcoming events. First, gratitude for our hospitality volunteers today, Patty Hedges, Sherry Hamilton, and Renuka Kapoor. It takes a village to offer hospitality to this community. And we are grateful. Right after today's service, however, we're having a town hall for us to talk about the needs of this beautiful space that we inhabit and some planning for the future. So we invite you to go grab your coffee or tea and come right back in here where lunch will be offered in this space here right after our service today. And we'll hope you stick around for that. And then next Sunday is our annual Apple Communion. It's a multi-generational service where children and families worship together. And afterwards, our Refugee and Immigrant Justice Ministry team has put together an international holiday bazaar. Here's Kathy. This bazaar features handmade arts and crafts from new Americans and organizations that are serving communities in other countries, serving artists and communities. So these are some of the things that you might see next Sunday that you can purchase. Start your holiday shopping early and come and join us right after the service for that. 25% of our unpledged plate offering goes to support a nonprofit organization in our community whose mission aligns with our social justice mission. And for the month of November, that partner is Giraffe Laugh, whose mission is to provide quality early childhood education and care to young children, ensuring school readiness and empowering families to build strong futures. We are delighted to be partnering with Giraffe Laugh again this month. For our spiritual themes this year, we've been using the book An Altar in the World by Barbara Brown Taylor. And this month's theme is wilderness, the practice of getting lost. Our service today explores how this community serves as a beacon, a light, if you will, in the wilderness times, in these moments that we find ourselves in when we feel lost, and how we are always becoming and always evolving in our vision to continue being a beacon for each other and for the world. Thank you all for being part of that light and part of that beacon that we offer one another and offer to our wider community. As we enter into this time of worship, let's all take a moment to breathe together. As you breathe, allow yourself to become fully present in this moment, in this space, wherever you find yourself. And let go for a moment. For this time we are together, invite yourself to let go of all the little niggling worries or burdens that you are carrying. Set them aside for a time as you tune in to your spiritual center and open your heart for nourishment and restoration. Thou art the song of my heart in the morning. Thou art the dawn of truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning. Thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-riven stranger. Thine are the wings of joy. Thou art the deep, to the deep in me calling. Thou art a lamp where my feet shall tread. Thy way is steep past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless dream. I invite us all to rise in body or spirit as we sing together the words of that opening poem with the beautiful song, Thou Art the Song of My Heart in the Morning, by Mike Lemieux, and text by the Reverend Dr. Kendall Gibbons.
Each week, we light our flaming chalice, a symbol of our free faith, a beacon of hope, love, and justice. We join in this lighting in solidarity and community, with thousands of other Unitarian Universalists lighting chalices today in churches, homes, and virtual worship spaces, reminding us that we are connected to one another and to a larger community of faith and love. Today, we have a young chalice lighter with us. We invite a child to light the chalice to recognize the children and youth in our community, our responsibility to them, and the future we're building together. As Greta Watsen lights the chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you in our virtual community who have a chalice nearby to light one along with us. With our collective chalices lit in all our spaces, we offer you this call to worship adapted from Kai Kali Bordner. We come together again to gather in love, light the fire of hope, and build the foundation. We commit together again to gather in truth, light the fire of freedom, and build the entryways. We continue together again to gather in community, light the fire of the future, and build the shelter. Together, we are always becoming a beacon for hope, a beacon for justice, a beacon for welcome, a beacon for love. Come, let us worship together.
I would like to invite all of our young people to come down here and join me for an exploration this morning. For our time for all ages. Today's a little different. We have something new today. And you might see it from time to time. I want to introduce you to our Wonder Box. I wonder what's in here. So, who can tell me, who remembers what our theme is this month? You remember what our theme is this month? Yes, Conley? Oh, our earth teacher, yes, dandelions. And what's our theme, Cambria? Wilderness. Or the practice of getting lost. And so when we are feeling lost, and maybe we're not really lost like out in the wilderness, but we feel kind of lost inside our hearts, or we're feeling a little down, or we're feeling like we don't know what to do or where to go, or we don't have the right answers. Do you ever feel like that sometimes? You just feel like, I just don't know where I'm going. I just don't know what I'm doing. Probably less you and more us. But, you know, we all feel that way sometimes, and we all look for things that might help us find some comfort, or might help us just feel like we can keep going, right? And so I wonder if there might be some of those things in this box, and what they are, and how they represent this community. So would you like to come and choose something? Would you like to tell me what's in this Wonder Box? I'm going to have you pick one thing. Okay, what's one thing in here? Oh my goodness, what is that? It's a marshmallow. It's a little baby stuffy. How many of you go turn to your stuffies when you feel like you need a little comfort, a little anchor? Yes. I see some hands out there. Yes. And the thing is, when we find things that are meaningful to us, we want to share that with people, right? When we find something that's like really cool and really awesome and it gives us such support, we kind of want to share that. So tell me your name. Addie. Addie and the person next to you, Addie, you can keep one, but would you go share the other ones of these with other people? Would you share these 3? And would you share these 2? And then we're going to keep one for Addie. So Addie, pick the one you want to keep. Okay, you want to keep this one? Okay, then I'm going to keep that for you right here while you go share those. Go share those out. Out. Okay, what else do we have here? Yes, Sebastian, choose a thing. What is that, I wonder, Sebastian? Yeah, can you hold that up for everybody? What kind of flag? A pride flag. And what do you think we find comforting in that? What do you think that pride flag represents to this community? You can get it. What might this pride flag represent to this community? Conley, what do you think? Welcome. Welcome to everyone. Yeah, awesome. How about our commitment to justice? Not just LGBTQ justice, but it's a representation that, look at this progressive pride flag. All of the different colors mean all of those intersecting justice issues that we believe in and that we fight for. All right. Did you all share your stuffies? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, Sebastian. Go share some of this pride and welcome and justice with this community, because remember, we want to share those things. All right, what else? Yes? Oh, what's that, Matt? A kazoo. Why would we have a kazoo? Why would that be important in this community? What does that kazoo represent to us as a community, do you think? Whistling. Yeah. What else? Yeah. Music. Because we like to make music together. How many of you does music lift your spirits when you're feeling a little bit lost? Yeah. How many of you, especially when we come to church and we hear beautiful music and we sing beautiful music, does it lift your spirits? Yes. We're going to get some beautiful music right here from Cambria later today. So our spirits are going to be lifted. So let's share that beautiful music. Would you share that with other people? And you're welcome to make some beautiful music for just a few minutes, friends. Okay, we got a couple more things here. Evelyn? Not everything. Just pick something. Just pick. Some things? Oh, what do you think that represents, Evelyn? Gifts. Presents. You know, you get it? Yeah. Right. Because we come here, right? We come here to find that way to figure out how to be present and to remember that wonderful saying, right? That this moment is a gift. This present is a present, is a gift. Would you go share some presents with others in our community out there, please? Well, that's good. Well, these are representations where we all can feel them inside. Okay, I have a couple more things that I want to share. Well, who knows what this is? Where do you think this water comes from? Yes. Up there. Some water comes from up there, but then we gather it together in our water communion. And this is a little bottle of that water. We call it our community holy water. So that means something to us, right? Okay. 2 more things. Would you like to pick something? You pick one of those 2. Oh my gosh, what do you think that is? It's hard to tell. It's all wrapped up in there. What? Stickers. And I spy a chalice on our stickers and a notebook. Ooh, a notebook. Why would a notebook be important to this community? Sebastian. You can what? You can write what you learned, right? Knowledge, yes. Did you have something? You forgot. Yes. Yeah, like a journal. You could write your feelings in it as a way to kind of help you get through. So all kinds of ways that notebooks and writing are important to this community. Would you go share some of those with the people out there? Yeah, you can have a helper. All right, and we have one more thing in this wonder box. One more thing. You already chose something. How about you? Would you like to choose? What's in there? What is that? A rock. A rock. Who remembers our story from last month? Anybody? Okay, Rhea remembers. What was it called? Oh, close. Everybody needs a rock. What might a rock represent for us here, especially here? Yes. Earth. And how we want to take care of our earth and how we all connect to nature. We have such beautiful nature in our midst. So would you go share some rocks with the crowd out there? Or down here? So all of these things are representations of all of those things that bring us a little bit of comfort, that help us find our way in the wilderness, that help us tend to our hearts that are tied together, the hearts of this community that are tied together, and the hands that help each other along the way. So we remember that we are in this together and we're not alone. That's what we want you to remember. So a lot of you got a lot of cool things out there. This was yours. Maybe some of you got a couple cool things. But thank you for sharing how we find comfort together as a community in those times when we feel lost, and the things that are most important to us that help us nourish our hearts and our minds and our bodies and our spirits. So let us sing together as we send our young people off to their religious exploration spaces. 5th through 5th grade are going to go out those doors over there, and our youth are going to go out those with Laura today over there. Let's sing together. Shall we? Did you have a question, Sarah? Well, you can keep. Well, they were meant to share some of those with all of you, but I understand how excited that some of them were to keep them. But then you can receive the representational blessing. The beautiful thing about this community is that we really do share our gifts. We share those commitments to justice, and we share those gifts of knowledge and learning and love for our earth, and we also share those gifts in our generosity, in our giving to support the ministries of this fellowship and the ministries of our plate partner this month is Giraffe Laugh. And so we give to say yes to that natural cycle of abundance in our lives, and yes to building beloved community within and beyond our walls. And through our giving, we commit ourselves to do the work for justice and compassion for all people and our earth. I invite our ushers to please come forward. Our offering will now be received.
Our reading today is Where God Is by Kenny Wiley. The first time my heart felt broken, I went to church. When my mom died, I went to church. When I failed a class, I went to church. When I failed a friend, I went to church. When I felt like I'd failed at life, I went to church. I didn't go asking for forgiveness. I didn't go asking for salvation. I went to church, a Unitarian Universalist church, to be reminded, through hugs from friends, awkward interactions with strangers, and inspired messages from leaders, that no matter how down I feel, I still matter. I still have worth. My God says, whoever you are enough. Whomever you love, you are enough. Whatever your race or ethnicity, you are enough. Whatever your abilities, you are enough. Whatever your economic class, you are enough. Whatever your gender identity, you are enough. Whatever you do for a living, you are enough. If you don't have a job right now, you are enough. You are a human being, and so you are enough. My God says this when we come together, worship together, listen deeply to one another, and love one another. This, I believe, is the God of our faith. My minister in college started the prayer with the same words every Sunday. I don't remember most of it. I do recall that he used the phrase, alone together. We experience life through our own lenses, though we don't have to go it alone. It may go against prevailing American individualism to say that we need other people. We like to believe that we can do everything on our own. I believe that the human spirit truly comes alive when we are challenged, prodded, and uplifted in community. We don't have to go to service every Sunday, yet I do think that we need to show up somewhere, to some community. I believe that living out our faith requires interaction beyond our own selves. I believe it calls for community. I believe that's where God is.
That beautiful reminder of being in community, to remember that we are enough, to remember that we are not alone and we don't have to go it alone, is why we open up a space each week to receive and carry the joys and sorrows of this beloved community. And it's through that sharing with one another that we strengthen those bonds of connection and hold the blessings of being in this life together. We begin by sharing some of these joys and sorrows with you. Joyfully celebrate Dorothy Vanderpool, who turned 91 this weekend. Congratulations, Dorothy. And Bonnie and Ed Sharp are joyful to share that Ed's knee replacement, after a few complications, he is on the mend, and they're very grateful for all of your thoughts and prayers. And we hold in our hearts Dennis Rockwood, who has a new health condition which may require additional surgery in Seattle. And he and Sharon are hoping for a clear diagnosis and that he'll be strong enough for whatever treatment might be necessary. And we hold Sue Chu, who was just admitted to the hospital last night, and there are some concerns of cancer. If you are holding someone in your heart this morning, I invite you to speak their name aloud, to share it in the chat, that we might hold them with you. May the arms of this community hold all our joys and sorrows, those shared and those that remain silent and close to our hearts. May we feel the grace that surrounds us, be transformed by the spirit of life and love, with a warmth to celebrate our joys and a gentleness to soothe our aching hearts. Breathe with me. Fill your body with breath. Breathe into this sacred space. Breathe with this beloved community filled with loving kindness. Breathe with wholeheartedness. Listen to what is calling you in the silence. Blessed be. Wow, Cambria, thank you. That was gorgeous. We are a community and a faith that often finds itself working towards those some days. Someday the world will be fairer, need will be rarer, greed will not pay. These are the same ideals behind Unitarian Universalism and our commitment to live our faith out in the world, to embody and bring forth our values of justice, equity, transformation, interdependence, generosity, as we build a better world with love as our guiding force, with love at the center. It's a beautiful mission and vision, and it's one that sustains me and keeps that fire lit within me. It keeps me going most days. Those words hold so much beauty and so much meaning and so much longing. You could hear that longing in the song. But wow, is it hard, especially right now, especially in these times of collective wilderness when everything around us feels just a little more chaotic and destructive and sometimes even a little hopeless. I was on a call with our Senator Melissa, my senator, some of our Senator Melissa Wintrow on Friday. We all know Senator Wintrow, and she told a group of us about how she'd encountered this large group at the State House touring the Capitol earlier this week. There were so many of them. They were in the rotunda, and it was very loud. And as she does, she just engaged one of them in conversation about why they were there out of curiosity, and learned that they were a part of the Christian Action Network. They'd been on a huge bus out to the Capitol, a Christian nationalist group intent on promoting far-right Christian doctrine and biblical morality in the government. And this man she was speaking to enthusiastically rattled off his ideology to her, that they were there because they were there to ensure that the cross and the flag are one, and where the flag conflicts with the cross, then the cross is the final guide. I looked them up. You know, I've been looking up so much Christian nationalism, I'm worried about my algorithms. I kind of want to subscribe because I want to know what they're doing, but I have to create a fake email or something. I'm just too terrified to do that right now. But this group has launched attacks against the National Endowment for the Arts, Muslim community centers, including the one at the World Trade Center site, and numbers of LGBTQ pride events and support in schools and cities, and even gay days at Disney World. They've been classified as a Muslim hate group by the Anti-Defamation League. And they are here, setting up camp here in Idaho, out of a church in Eagle, during this legislative session. And Melissa Wintrow predicts they will be big and loud and flooding the State House regularly. And that's how we ended the call. And I left that call stunned, kind of jaw-dropped, not surprised, but a little demoralized. And then last Thursday, a group of us attended a documentary screening hosted by United Vision Idaho, which explored the alarming rise in radicalization of young boys in rural Appalachia through exposure to far-right extremism and violent content on social media, while also simultaneously documenting the rise in violence right here in our country that we've been witnessing over the last several years. Again, I left stunned and a bit demoralized, but not surprised. This is the wilderness in which we find ourselves. This is the current state of our country, of our community, even our world. And I keep asking myself, how are we going to survive this? let alone try and counter all of these efforts. We are going to need some serious wilderness survival tools. Recently, my husband and I have been watching the reality TV series Alone. He really likes it, so I've watched some episodes with him. I see there are some fans out there. This is a show where participants get deposited all alone in some dense wilderness area like Saskatchewan, Mongolia, Patagonia, and the participant who survives the longest wins a large sum of money. And they're each given their own video camera to document their days and serve as their own video diaries, so there are no camera crews. They are truly alone. And each of them is given a kit with some standard gear, mostly clothing and boots with some first aid supplies, and then they get to choose an additional 10 survival items from a pre-approved list of 40 items in categories like shelter, cooking, hunting, and food and tools. And it's really interesting to watch every contestant choose slightly different items in different combinations based on their own strengths and skills and their own knowledge or research of wilderness survival. And they all use their tools in wildly different ways. But there are some basic commonalities in how their time in the wilderness unfolds. As you can imagine, they all get to work building a shelter. And some of those shelters are rather simple, and some are really quite elaborate, but all of them are very unique and very different. One woman carved her shelter out of the ground, like dug a hole, really, and her shelter were in the ground. There were some carpenters there who clearly chose the right tool and built their shelters in like the mortise and tenon log cabin style shelters. Very elaborate, very amazing. It takes them days and days and days and weeks to build their shelters. But they all get to work building a shelter. They know they will need shelter. And they all get to work finding food and nourishment, gathering, hunting, fishing, preserving, if possible, conserving whatever they can. And as their time in the wilderness unfolds, I always hear contestants talk about how they are conserving their energy and marshaling their inner strength when they need to, so they know that they have enough to keep going in those wilderness days. And without fail, at some point in the wilderness experience, often more than once, each contestant speaks about their spiritual experience and their growth occurring from this moment, this time in the wilderness, the solitude, the vastness and beauty of nature that surrounds them. Shelter, nourishment, rest, sustainability, and spirituality. I share this with you because I keep thinking about how the major themes in Alone mirror the work and vision of this fellowship, especially as we face growing wilderness times in the larger world. Shelter, nourishment, rest, sustainability, and spirituality. That's what we seek to create and sustain and offer up to each other and to our community, both within and beyond our walls. But what is unique to this community and unique to Unitarian Universalism more broadly is that we all get to determine what each of those things means to us. We get to choose our survival tools, if you will. Some of us experience shelter, nourishment, spirituality, all of those things on Sunday mornings right here together in worship, filling our spiritual cup. Some of us also experience those things out in nature, on walks in our beautiful outdoor sanctuary. Some of us experience that in small groups and connections, in neighborhood pods, in justice ministry and advocacy, in bringing meals and having those one-on-one moments together. Some of us experience this doing service work out in the community. We nourish ourselves so that we can bring that nourishment out into the larger world. This nourishment comes in many forms and many experiences, and it's likely that we each receive it and connect with it in all of these ways at various times. And together, we create and uphold a community that helps sustain our vision, our dream of a better world, our some days. A place where we can be fed literally and figuratively, a place where we can feed others, a place that helps us tend and grow our spirits and our humanity. And just like we did in our time for all ages, we want to share this nourishment, this shelter, this spirituality, this experience with others. That's how we continue to become a beacon in the community, by sharing all of that love in all the different forms it takes, in all the different ways it nourishes and sustains the way we wish to live. Every week, I meet newcomers who are seeking a place of connection, a place of belonging, because either they don't quite feel it out there in the community, or they've had to leave a former religious community behind and they're wandering in that wilderness space, searching for that place expressed in our reading. That place that reminds us that no matter how down we feel, we still matter. We still have worth. And we, as a community, we always hope to throw open our doors and our arms and say, welcome, come in, find shelter here, find nourishment here, rest here, tend to your spirit here. And when you're ready, join us in tending to others out there. It all starts right here. This place, this building, these grounds, this shelter, which itself has grown and changed over the years. Since the founding of this fellowship, Boise Unitarian Universalist has been a beacon of liberal religion, diverse spirituality, and progressive values, opening its spaces, whether in living rooms of the early days or the doors of a permanent building, to those seeking refuge and others who share those same ideals and hopes and needs for the world, and then turning that vision outward in service of building that better world. And as this fellowship grew, each generation contributed its time, its talent, its resources to expanding that vision of what is possible, to striving to meet the moment of their time, always becoming, always with the hope of continuing to be a beacon of hope, a beacon of love and justice for each other and for the community around them. And we have that opportunity again today to expand our vision of what is possible to meet this moment, to keep living out our values within and beyond our walls, to keep offering beautiful shelter and nourishment so we can keep showing up in the world, keep working towards our some days. I was on a panel this week about faith as a pillar of democracy. And I had a really hard time answering questions. There were lots of hard questions asked of us, mostly because I struggle with the word democracy and healthy democracy. One of the questions that was asked was about how religion gets weaponized and used as a tool for blocking change and denying rights and protections. And I was asked at the very end of the panel, all of us were asked, what did we want people who were not from Idaho to know? There were folks, organizers from other parts of the country there, about those of us who are here trying to protect the ideals of what democracy can be, resisting and dismantling systems of oppression and harm that seek to destroy that vision. What did we want other people not in Idaho to know? And I gave a really discombobulated answer. I rambled for a long time, and I rambled on and on about how hard it is to be an advocate for justice and change and progressive values in Idaho, and how I want to sometimes leave every single day. And it kind of went on a little too long about that, because it often, It's not inspiring. It often feels like a Sisyphean effort. And it's like, why? Why do we keep rolling the ball up the hill? If the rock, if it just keeps hurtling back down upon us. But then when the panel was over and I was driving home in my car, I realized what I wished I had said, which is what usually happens. What I wished I'd said, what I want people to know about Idaho is that there are communities like ours, religious communities, people of faith who exist in the midst of all of this hard and oppressive and harmful world and keep going. Religious communities dedicated to radical welcome and LGBTQIA rights and bodily autonomy and reproductive freedom. Religious communities consistently working on anti-racism and undoing systems of white supremacy. Religious communities that support refugees and asylum seekers and immigration justice. Religious communities committed to climate care and the survival of our planet. Religious communities that work to counter all of those unhealthy messages we continue to be fed, messages of power and wealth and empire that tell us our worth is tied to productivity and achievement and ceaseless work, while neglecting creativity and beauty and spirituality and rest. Religious communities where theological and spiritual diversity is celebrated and welcomed, where there is God and no God and I don't know about God and everything in between. Religious communities that try to care for and love each other and the world even when it's hard. The beautiful thing about religious communities like ours is that our light shines far and wide even when we don't see it. It shines in so many different ways and in so many different places, and it's all connected, like those two hearts, right, in our wonder box, always connected by these threads of love. And it all starts right here, in this place, in this building, on these grounds, this shelter, this beacon. We are the beacon. And we are always becoming, always evolving to meet the moment. Because we know somewhere deep in our hearts that this is how we will survive the wilderness together. May it be so. So let's pray. Let's pray in this wilderness together. Sometimes you have to pray. Even if you're like, I don't pray, Sarah, or I don't even know what you mean by pray. Prayer is our January theme, so we'll get there. Let's just get ourselves in that space, in that presence of attention and presence and meditation and prayer. Spirit of life and love, holy mystery. Spirit of the wilderness, here in this place, this shelter, in these wilderness times of division and despair, of chaos and conflict, may we find rest and nourishment for our weary spirits and broken hearts. Nourishment to feed our minds and sustain us for the future. Here in this place, this shelter, may we continue to be a beacon of hope and memory, of peace and justice, of comfort and compassion. May we tend to our continued becoming, to the evolution of our community and our commitments to one another and the world. May we nurture a legacy filled with beauty, warmth, and joy. honoring our some days, our vision to build a better world, beckoning welcome for any and all who are searching, making our way together. In the name of all that is holy, we pray. Amen. Let us make our way together in song. I invite us to rise in body or spirit and sing together our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home. Friends, I invite you to place your hands over your heart for our closing blessing. We're going to try to do a quick turnaround for our town hall and lunch, so go grab some coffee and tea and come right back. And Zoom community, we hope you will join us. We see you on our screens now as we share this closing blessing together. Let us tend to our light, inside and out, that it might shine for all who seek us. Let us tend to our shelter, inside and out, that it might offer the warmth of community. Let us nourish and sustain each other as we offer nourishment and sustain the world, as we make our way through this wilderness together. Blessed are we all. Go in peace.